right, so we are tackling a topic that has come up in my space, in my realm, a couple of times this week, and so I thought I'll create a video about it, sharing my own experience. Right? So if you are someone who has felt inspired to share your growth with others because you know, a part of you knows well that it can create a transformation for them. Perhaps you're already doing it, perhaps you're already a coach, a healer, you're already creating some transformation for your clients, but at the same time, you are having doubts about how much value you can bring to your clients. Or perhaps you haven't started yet, and then you're thinking in the back of your head that you don't have the skills yet to do it, or that you are not 100% sure that you can do it, and then you're slowing yourself down. I am making this video for you. All right, so what I really want to do here is really share my experience, because everything that I just said prior to now, been there, done that, right? Experienced every step of the way. When I first felt inspired to start sharing something that had changed my life so much, something that had transformed me and really brought so much joy and so much love in my heart. Something that like I continue to share now, which is all about utilizing your whole energetic system for creating joy within you, creating health within you, creating your own creation in life and business. When I felt inspired to do it at first, obviously it was like, oh yes, I'm going to do it. Oh yes, I'm going to do it, right? And which is probably something that you yourself have experienced if you are watching this video, right? But at the same time, I was filled with doubt, right? The very first thing that I want to say here is that for the longest time, I felt like doubt was something wrong, that there was something like, if I have doubt, then there's something wrong. And then even worse than that, utilizing doubt as the reason why not to do something, right? Before we do anything, can we get that out of the way? Can we normalize, right? Can we normalize the fact that doubt is like a part of our brain, really? It's really like in our brain, we have a layer in our brain that is doubt, right? Can we normalize that? Can we be like, yes, I can have doubt and still create. I can have doubt and still do what I'm feeling called to do, right? So that's the very first thing that I want to say, is that it is very normal that you may be having doubts about your own capabilities or your own abilities or skills, abilities of your skills for creating transformation for others. With that said, there is a reason why you have been called, you have felt called to do it, right? For me, like how I look at it is like, I'm always talking about like, my soul is calling me to do this. If my soul is calling me to do this, there's a reason my soul is calling me to do this. It's because it knows that there's something beyond it. There's something behind me doing it that is going to contribute so much to its growth, to its expansion, to my expansion, right? So, and also if my soul is calling me to do that, it's because it knows I can do it, right? It's because it knows I can do it, even though I may be having doubt, even though I may be, like doubting my skills and stuff like that, right? And so the very first thing I wanted to do is take that out of the way, right? We may have doubt every here and then, right? But we also have something that is really beyond that, right? That trumps everything, is choice, right? Which means even though I may be having doubts, can I actually still choose to do this happen, right? Choose and decide, right? And even in that same token, one thing that I started doing like along the way is, even when I started having doubts about something that I wanted to create, even when I started having doubt about, actually, am I capable of creating that transformation for my clients? The very, very first thing that I do, or I started doing, is I decide that I am the kind of person who gives that kind of transformation to her clients. I remember even this morning, which is why it reminded me to create this video, right? Like years ago, I had like these reminders programmed in my phone, and they keep coming up every day, right? And one of the things that I programmed in my phone years ago was, I create stellar programs that create transformation for others, right? This is information that I started inputting inside of my brain, inputting inside of like into my whole system, so that it is a reminder, right? What that does, like from my perspective, is if I'm inputting that into my brain, your brain is so powerful, it comes up with different ways to make that happen, right? So the very first thing that I will say is, regardless of doubt or no doubt, can we decide? Can we make the decision? Can we choose that I am the kind of person, even though I may not know all the ins and outs right now, even though I may not have all the details right now, can I decide that I am the kind of person who creates growth for others, who creates a program that lead to deep transformation for her clients, right? That's one of the things that I did, right? And the second thing that I want to share here is a sentence that I heard from one of my mentors, my energy mentors of all things. This was not even about business at all, but this stayed with me for the longest time. This was years ago, but I can never get myself to forget this. And this is what he said. He said that if you are feeling called to do work that brings transformation for others in the world, what matters the most is not how powerful or how sophisticated the tools that you utilize are. What is the most important thing is how much you can allow yourself to care. I have never forgotten that phrase. What matters the most is how much you can allow yourself to care, right? And so when I look back, even at my business and how it has grown, it really has grown tremendously when I think about it now, when I think about how I started. The very first reason, the one of, like, if not the reason that really made me, it's like, okay, I'm going to do it, really push for it, not push, but like really go for it, even though I was filled with fears, even though I was filled with emotions, even though I was like, okay, I wanted to stay in my comfort zone. The one thing that I kept saying to myself, that like every time I say that to myself, it just fuels me, right? The one thing I kept saying to myself is, even if just a couple of people receive this, right? If I make this video and a couple of people receive this in this video, it will have been so worth it for me. Because whenever I thought about that, it just moved me in such a big way. So the question here is, like, the second thing that I'll think about is, how much do I care? Do I care enough about the people who this work is going to transform? And do I care enough to actually do it when it's not perfect? Do I care enough to actually allow my presence to allow some sort of transformation to allow through me for them, right? I hope this makes sense, right? For me, it has been so powerful. Now, going back to when I first started doing this work, right? And this work being really sharing, like something that had created so much change for myself, had brought so much love and light within me, and I felt so called to share it with others. If I tell you that I knew nothing, especially when I look at how much growth I've created, how much really embodying I have experienced up until now. Like when I look back at back then, I knew nothing. I knew zero, I knew nada, right? But I can tell you here and now that if I hadn't started, and if all I was doing was just receiving training from my teachers, right? And receiving trainings from my mentors, I wouldn't be where I am today. Like I can say that to you 100%. Why? Because now I know that there is a big difference between receiving and learning and doing all these things from others, right? The level of growth compared to the level of growth when you then start sharing with others. Like even your brain itself expands in such a bigger way than just receiving and staying in our comfort zone and being like, well, I don't know enough yet. But what I've realized and what I've come to realize, like even when I look at it now, is that I started knowing more. The moment I started sharing, the little that I knew, I started growing faster. Like again, like my brain was stretching in ways I was like, holy moly, right? It wasn't always comfortable, I can tell you that much. right? There were times where I had to affront, like, really face myself, face my own limitations, face my emotions, right? And it's because I was facing this, because I was doing that, that I was growing and exponentially bigger and bigger. Even my energy was expanding bigger and bigger and faster than if I was just receiving training and receiving healing from teachers and mentors and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I still have teachers, I still have my spiritual teacher. As I'm speaking to you now, I have spiritual mentors, I have like mentorship in business and all of that. I have nothing against any of that. But what I'm saying is that when we are waiting to learn more before we can, there's a shorter way to do that. The shorter way to do this is that to share the little that we already know, right? To share the little that we already know, while willing to also make mistakes. While willing to make mistakes, share the little that we know, and really observe how much faster your brain awakens you to more knowing for yourself, right? And what ends up happening, what I've experienced, is that then actually I myself, like, you awaken more knowing to yourself that maybe not even your teachers are not aware of sometimes, right? Not to be arrogant or anything like that. This is not what it's about. Or sometimes where, like, you awaken to new truths to yourself before your own teachers or your own mentors actually mention them to you. I find that super powerful. All right, so the last thing I want to share about this is that a lot of the times when we are feeling shaky about how much transformation we can give to our clients, how much transformation we can give to the people, like in our space, in our realm, the people that come to us. A lot of times when we are feeling shaky about it, when we're having doubt about it, it's very likely because we have stepped into teaching mode rather than sharing mode. Let me explain, right? So when I first started, like, you would be so shocked at some of the things that I shared. But the reason why I shared them was because I was 100% sure that this works, right? I even shared things like at the beginning, I've shared before how, like, I'm someone who was like chronically constipated for years, and then, like, when I started opening up my digestive system, right, it was so mind-blowing to me, right? Like, and I felt so happy because I was like, oh my God, finally a solution, right? And one of the things that I did was I literally said, hey, if you suffer from constipation, if you suffer from, like, your bowel not moving, I have something that I want to share with you. And this is what it will do for you, because it is the truth that once that started happening, I started procrastinating less. Right? I started making moves. I started taking action more consistently. And because I was taking more action more consistently, I was getting results more consistently. And so for me to come and to say out loud, I can teach you how to do that. Like, there was zero, like, yes, maybe there will be a little bit of maybe I don't trust myself and stuff like that. But there was a certain level of, I know this worked for me. And so I'm going to share with you. And even when I'm talking about it, I have so much confidence that if it worked for me, it is very likely that it's going to work for you, right? And so what I'm saying here is that sometimes we kind of like overreach. Or maybe we are trying to sell something that we have not necessarily embodied yet, which is why we then start like shooting ourselves in the foot with all the doubt, even though doubt, again, like we're not going to like vilify doubt, but like I feel like this is one way that has helped me tremendously get out of that zone and really just share, really just talk about like all the things that have created transformation for me. The thing here is that oftentimes what happens is that we say to ourselves, well, this thing is like, that's not what people are looking for. It's not good enough. It's not big enough for people to pay me. Oh my God, right? Oh my God, that is such a big lie, right? Like, people will pay you if simply, like, if you embody the energy of joy. Like, do you know how many people are just wanting to feel joy in their lives? Do you know how many people who just love to feel even love for themselves, love in their heart, right? Do you know how many people who like to be able to actually feel the feeling of forgiving, having the ability to forgive others instead of holding a grudge and it's hurting them, but they don't know how to let go, right? The list can go on and on and on. But what's important is that what is the energy behind you? Like, what's the energy that you are carrying as you are sharing your offers, as you are talking about like what you can do for your clients? If you are in the space of, well, I don't know if this can happen, of course the energy carries through. But if you are in the space of, I've done it, right? I continue to do this for myself all the time. I know it works. Yes, I'm going to propose it to others because I know it has worked for me. This is something that I embody all the time, right? And then you may be in a space where you feel like, well, like that thing that I'm sharing with my clients, that transformation that I'm bringing to my clients, I myself personally don't need it right now. So for me, how I have done this is that I take the same tools that I use today are the exact same tools that I used when I first started my business, when it was at zero, when no one knew who I was. And now thousands of humans, like tens of thousands of humans have it. After that my work has touched tens of thousands of humans in the world. I still utilize pretty much the same tools. Of course I have evolved, of course I have grown a ton from the beginning, but I still utilize the same tools for my next level growth. And as I utilize the same tools for my next level growth, what happens is that I still face next level growth challenges. And then I share, right? And then I share my challenges, I share my wins, I share all that comes along with it, right? And so that's what I wanted to share with you in this video. If you are in the space where you're feeling like, well, I'm having doubt, I don't know if I can do this, blah blah blah, yeah, just know that it's just mind chatter, right? If you are feeling called to do it, it's because you can, right? It's just a decision that you have to make, that I am the kind of coach, I'm the kind of healer who creates that kind of transformation for others. And then allow your brain, allow the source within you to make that happen. As long as you have the will to do so, and as long as you care enough, like this one, I say this, I feel like it's important. As long as you care enough about the humans that you're bringing your work to, as long as you care enough about their transformation, you will figure it out. You'll figure it out. And just share what you already know. Just share what you already know, where you are already 100% solid that it has worked for you, right? Or that it has worked for your clients. All right. So that's it for this video. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye.